Hi, I'm Jeanne Fiorini. Thanks for being here at the Tarot Tips. We are in the process of fine-tuning some of the possible interpretations of some of the cards in the tarot. Last time we talked about cards that can point to a few different specific things, not just having a possible helpful or a possible hindering aspect, but really a couple of different ways that a card could point, a couple of ways that the card could point to really unique and specific instances. The things we're going to talk about today, it's a shorter list because we're going to talk about, I pulled out a few cards that to me are not complicated, that are pretty much consistently saying the same thing across the board. If we were to do, 100 readings, 95 out of 100 times the card is going to indicate this. And we're going to talk about that. Like I said, this is a shorter list. Part of the art of reading tarot is taking what you know that the card means, building upon that, what intuition tells you, whatever spiritual guidance you're receiving, whatever other cards are around that card, what the thing as a whole might be telling you, what sort of a vibe you might be getting from your client or your customer or your querent. Tarot is a multifaceted, really an art. And so what we're talking about today are just, like I've said in other tarot tips, hints. These are things for you to keep in mind. These are just other ways of looking at cards that maybe would be helpful for you as you're finding your way with your tarot deck. So let's go look at a few cards that to me are pretty straight shooters and don't have really much complication around them. Interestingly, in the same way that the suit of swords can have the most problematic places, the suit of swords also has a couple of places where it's very to the point and uncomplicated. The first card that I've chosen for this, to make this point, no pun intended, is the Ace of Swords. I sometimes think of the Ace of Swords as the 23rd major arcana card. I think of that, the power of the truth as being that archetypal, that distilling, and that clarifying. So the Ace of Swords really points to the truth. The truth is the truth is the truth, and it's unvarnished, and it's not sometimes not pretty, but it is what it is. So this card of the bottom line, the truth is the truth, you just can't get around that. Similarly, I'm going to put the Justice card in this pile of cards that is not complicated. I guess I will put the caveat on this one in that sometimes justice, we have to decide now, is this Justice card speaking about what is true kind of universally, like we all are born and we all die? Or is it more the personal truth? What values and systems we adhere to as we move through our lives? But still, the Justice card, it's point blank. It mediates between the black and the white and finds and spits out a decision. So you're not going to get half of a speeding ticket. You're not sort of pregnant. You either are or you aren't. Something is either correct or it's not correct, and this is the point to which the Justice card addresses. I'm going to put the Fool in here. Certainly the Fool has its downside, but still, in my experience, when the Fool comes up in a reading, it's really speaking to the voice of authenticity. First of all, for me, the Fool doesn't come up all that often in readings for my clients. Most times that we see the Fool, there's something big going on for a person. So the Fool, 9 times out of 10 to me, is going to speak to, listen to what your natural inclinations are. What is instinct telling you? What is the thing that you're drawn to or called to that you don't even have to think about? That's the voice of the authentic self, and that's what the Fool is addressing. It would be nice if life was that simple. I'm going to put the Lovers card in here as in terms of a card that isn't very complicated. Right or wrong, the Lovers is another card that speaks to authenticity, of putting your money where your mouth is, and taking action. And I think that that's one of the important aspects that sometimes gets overlooked in this card, is that making a choice based on what is authentic and true for you is what the Lovers card is about. And certainly, again, there can be its negative attributes, but I'm going to really fall on this card most times as it being a choice for something that is genuine and real for a person, that there's a conscious act of choice and intention going on here, guided by spirit, guided by some sort of higher truth here. In a related sense, I guess as I'm looking at these cards, this is the only minor arcana card that I pulled out in terms of it feeling somewhat straightforward. That's the Six of Pentacles. That regardless of the situation, whether it's a work situation or a relationship or a family matter or a matter of health, that the Six of Pentacles shows mutual benefit. It shows that both sides of the equation are harmonized by whatever the relationship here is. So, you know, as things change, as people make their choices, the Six of Pentacles to me very often speaks to the simple truth of, well, each party is getting something out of this situation, whatever the situation is. Again, it doesn't really feel very complex to me, this card. Things being in balance and harmony, indicated by this equilibrium scale here. What else? The Tower card. We are getting some of the heavy hitters here in the clear and distinct aspect of the tarot. So the Tower card. This is what I consider to be the most powerful card in the deck. It's not the most important. It's not... I guess the thing about the Tower card for me is that if lightning is going to strike, it's going to strike, and there's nothing we can do about it. So again, uncomplicated. Either it's going to happen and you just might as well get used to it, or if the storm passes and it doesn't strike, then that's fine too. But the Tower card really is the breakthrough and the shift in perception that we don't create. It's more like something that happens. We may ready ourselves for it, but if the glass is going to fall off the counter and land on the floor, it's going to break. So there's this sense of ready yourself. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Change. The last card in this uncomplicated collection of uncomplicated cards is the Judgment card. Now, the thing that I have found interesting over the years with this one is a lot of times a person will get this card and they will say, I can't imagine being ready to make that decision, because the Judgment card is all about making that sometimes long in coming choice, that decision, taking action on what you know. The Judgment is the place in the tarot where all things come together, and the next step is almost a no-brainer. It's that red cross in the middle of that card is the coming together of all experience, which is going to promote or almost force some sort of action, choice, decision. I don't want to say outcome, but will shift things. This is the intentional shift that a person creates, different from the Tower card, which is a shift that might happen to us or a shift that might happen for us. The Judgment is the shift that we create. So that this is a no-nonsense card, one of the strongest cards in the tarot. There is a readiness for change here. And even if people don't believe that they are ready, the Judgment card says, yes, you are. Get yourself together, take what you know, act on what you know and move ahead with that. All of that's very much take no prisoners kind of an attitude there. So again, giving you something to think about, ways to maybe perceive these cards in a different way, or in a way that can help you work with them a little bit more effectively. The next tarot tip, we're going to talk about cards, good cards, quote, good cards that might have negative implications. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.